This is the third and final podcast all about Budapest, and we may have saved the best to last. In this episode, we share three completely different experiences, but they are all incredible. Let's start at the most famous thermal baths in Budapest. Come inside the stunning yellow building that surrounds 18 different thermal pools, baths, saunas, and steam rooms. We tell you everything you need to know about enjoying your time here. Next, we discover a real hidden gem, Margaret Island, right smack bang in the middle of the Danube. This is a locals' paradise filled with parklands, gardens, thermal baths, swimming pools, a zoo, musical water fountain, Japanese gardens, jogging track, restaurants, bars, plus heaps more. You'll want to hear all about it. We were just blown away. Lastly, and probably our favourite day in Budapest, was an amazing wine tour we did to a small wine region. We visited 3 different cellar doors and they were so unique. One was an underground wine cellar that was hundreds of years old. We cover lots of ground in this one, so buckle up and enjoy episode 103, all about Budapest. If you would like to see all the pictures or find out more about the tours that we did, then click on the link to episode 103 on the podcast player you are listening on now. Good morning, Lyle. Welcome back to the podcasting studio.
Yes, good morning, Leonita.
I'm a bit excited about this episode. I mean, the last 2 episodes we've done on Budapest, you can tell that we just love the city. But I think we left some of our favourites to last, maybe.
Yes, some hidden gems.
Yeah, well, I guess one of them's technically not really a hidden gem. It's pretty popular. However,
actually, it's probably the most popular activity you can do in Budapest.
I think so, but I think a lot of people who only go to Budapest for one night, they probably wouldn't get here. So we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
And I am going to leave you to pronounce where we're going first.
Oh, you threw that one in. Well, we're going to the Széchenyi thermal baths. Yeah,
we are. And it is, as you say, it is very like a well-known thermal bath.
It's the best. Yeah, it's the biggest and probably they say the best.
But let's talk a little bit about like why they're thermal baths in Budapest.
Look, there's over 120 geothermal springs in Budapest.
So that's probably why it's called the Spa City, right?
Yeah, and basically what it is, there's a fault line at the bottom of Buda Hill.
Yes.
And but in saying that, there hasn't been any volcanic eruptions or anything like that for forever. So there's and I know at the Széchenyi bars, they I suppose turn over about 6 million litres of hot water every day.
Yeah, well, the bars are emptied.
Yes.
And refilled every day to keep them clean. But it's also...
And they don't use chlorine.
No, because the property of the minerals in the water is, people go there for the medicinal benefits, don't they?
Sure.
I don't know that we got medicinal benefits, but it felt nice.
Well, we were lucky. It was a really, really nice day that we went. But the baths that we entered was 38 degrees centigrade. Yeah. So you walk in and it's like being in a bath.
Well, my skin tingled a little bit actually. It was quite, because it was warm outside, but wasn't 38 degrees. Actually, I think going on a cooler day with the steamy pools would be nice too.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, I think it'd be lovely. So we're at the Széchenyi thermal baths. It's a beautiful big complex that was built in 1913. And
correct.
It's canary yellow, and it's like a big circular complex, really. And it's when go inside the baths, you go in through these magnificent big front steps, and then you enter. The building surrounds the outside, and you walk outside, and you're immediately confronted with these 3 enormous pools.
Outdoor pools, yeah.
Outdoor pools, right? And the beautiful blue water of those, and there's little trees and there's flowers, and then the building all the way around is that canary yellow colour. There's little sort of seating areas up high. There's columns, and it's just beautiful to look at,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's basically neo Baroque style architecture.
Oh, there you go.
So
Well, that explains it then.
yes, it does. Now that, as we said, there's the three large pools. The one
Outside.
in the middle is basically a conventional pool.
It's for swimming, and you have to wear
You have to wear a swimming cap.
yeah,
To go into that. The 15 indoor pools are a mixture of the hot water and cold water.
And they vary in size too. You walk up some more stairs and go in through like a little water bath for your feet, and you go inside. And the end I went in, there was quite a big pool in there, but the inside is basically clad with ceramics and marble and mosaics, and that's what I noticed, that in that first sort of area was the marble. It's a bit like the same coloured marble that they had in St Stephen's Cathedral, that maroon brown colour with the cream sort of running through it. And so there's a big pool in the middle, and then there's two on the side, and you walk through the next room and there's two little ones, and you don't know, I mean, obviously the signs aren't in English, so you don't know what temperature the waters are. And then you can just walk through, like room after room after room. There was another pool where seemed to be locals, I think older people doing sort of some laps, but it wasn't a big pool. It was but it had a line in the middle, and then they had some round pools.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, some round pools off to the side where people were just sitting in absolute silence, and then there was another room that sort of was a bit steamy, and right at the other end. So
yeah, well, there are steam rooms,
right,
and saunas as well.
Yes,
and you can get massage.
Yeah.
But that one of the outdoor pools, which you pointed out to me, remember had the circular motion.
Yeah, that's right. One of the big outdoor pools, people hop in and they just sort of they move around, and it just sort of it is.
There's a current to it. Yeah. There's a current to it. So,
but go and have a look at Beach Travel Wine episode 103, where I've got some. You'll see the photos of what I'm talking about. I've got some of the inside, some of the bigger pools outside, and the beautiful yellow buildings as well. And I'm going to put a link also in our website to the tickets that we bought, because the tickets that we bought included a little cabin that you can get changed in and leave your valuables there, right? So so that way you just know that you got the best experience at the baths. And we got there quite early and there wasn't too many people. It is very popular, but because there's so many pools and that you've always got a nice space to get into, you have to wear they call them flip-flops over here, or we call them thongs. To the edge, and then there's a little water bath that you step into before you get into the proper bath. And if you don't have flip-flops with you or a towel, you have to take your own towel. They sell them there.
They actually sell flip-flops, towels, and also
probably swimming caps too.
The swimming caps as well. That was, as we walked in on, that was on the right hand side.
Yes.
There are
I would buy your tickets online though, because there was quite a big lineup for people lining up to get in, and they do sell out.
I'd definitely do that. Now the other thing was there is food and
a
bar available at the side.
And lots of sun lounge chairs.
Yeah, they're incredible, the amount of sun lounge chairs.
Yeah, everywhere. Right?
Everywhere.
And you can move them around. I went and moved mine over into the shade, and I read. It's like a day out. I guess they don't have any beach in Hungary. It's a landlocked country, as we've said before. So I think this is their way of being outside, enjoying the sun, enjoying the water, those sort of activities. Would you agree?
Yeah, look, and it's been going on since Roman times. They began it. And everybody's heard of the Roman baths. Well,
yeah, that's true.
This is obviously they just followed along because of obviously they found the thermal springs. And then, of course, you've also heard of the Turkish baths. So after the Romans came the Ottoman Empire, and they just continued the tradition, but probably more elaborately.
Yeah,
and again, that this being built in 1913, which was just before the First World War.
True.
Parliament House was the same. the Fisherman's Bastion, all these iconic places were just built just before the World War One. So,
so it's really, I would highly recommend going to the baths.
Oh, look, for sure, you've got to do it. Look, you can go to cheaper ones. It was about roughly probably about $75 each.
Australian though.
Yeah, for Leanne and I.
As I said, I'm going to put the link to that in our website because, as I said, it does include, you can get straight in. It does include a cabin, and you can stay all day. It's an all-day pass. So,
yeah, for sure. And but there's another one. There's another one that's quite famous too, and I think it's called the Lantern.
I thought it was Lucas.
Lucas, you're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucas, you correct, and that's about half the price.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't have anywhere near as many pools either.
And it's not as elaborate, sure. No. But if you want to go for the benefits, sure. if that's what you're going for, the benefits of the health benefits, you could go to the Lucas, but to get the experience, the whole shebang, you definitely got to go to the Széchenyi
thermal baths. Yes. Now, we were speaking to some people, a local Hungarian girl, and she was saying that other places sort of out in the country, they have them as well, and they're even cheaper still. So if you're a bit gamer and you're going to explore a little bit, you'd find that thermal bath anywhere.
If I remember correctly, she said it's about a tenth of the price, and she said you get looked after even.
You get treated like royalty.
Royalty,
and they include massages
but you've got to get there.
Yeah, you've got to get there and all sorts of things. So, so highly recommend it. Check out the link to the tour that we did in episode 103 on our website there, and the pictures, of course, of the bath that I took inside and outside. Yeah, I love the yellow building.
Now, and that particular the baths are actually located in what they call the city park.
Yeah, it's a huge park,
and that's where we actually saw the Hero Square, the amazing monument there.
Yeah, and there's some other attractions that people go and visit in that area. It's quite a popular part of Budapest. Yeah, on the Pest side near the baths. Yep. Now to get to the bars, it is a little bit out. There's a metro that goes sort of from the middle of the Pest side, and it's a one stop. Metro 1, I think it is, the M1, which is the yellow. If you're on the Buda side, you just have to go 2 stops over to the middle of Pest there and change trains and hop onto that one.
Yeah.
Or grab a taxi like we did.
Or a Bolt.
A Bolt, yeah. Actually, let's talk about Bolt. Good segue. Now, in Budapest, I've read and you hear about taxis being the one of the things that scam tourists. Now, we did a bit of research before we came, and we were told or read that all taxis have to be licensed, they're yellow, and that they must accept by law credit cards.
Correct.
Yeah. I think we did mention this in an earlier podcast, but what we didn't add on was when we got a taxi from the airport, he wanted cash, we gave it to him, he charged us too much, but at least we got where we were going, right?
But he was very pleasant.
He was very pleasant. But then when we spoke to Deanna, this is a Hungarian girl that we met, she told us that there's no Uber either, but in Hungary, Uber is coming back apparently. So whenever you're listening to this, just check that. But they have an Uber-like app called Bolt, B-O-L-T. Now, the Bolt taxis are all yellow. They're all licensed as well. And instead of taxi on the top, it says Bolt taxi, and you use the app. And that way you know how much it's going to cost you. You can follow, just like Uber, you can, choose the car. You can have them, you can follow them coming to you, and you can, follow your progress, and they take it off your card. So they're not actually taking your card from you then. So it's already in the app. So
the 2 things that stood out for me about the Bolt was it was so convenient. So easy.
Yeah.
So cheap.
Yeah.
And it was almost like, I think the most we waited was 4 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
So highly recommend the old Bolt.
One day we'd walk so much, and we had, it was still about a 3-kilometre walk home, and I got a bit of a sore leg, as I keep telling everybody, and I just couldn't cope with walking that far after 15,000 steps or whatever it was. So we just got there were taxis waiting, and this was after the river cruise, remember? And as we're pulling into dock to get off the river cruise, the people on the PA system who are running the ship, they say, don't use the yellow taxis waiting there. So that in itself tells you that these people are just waiting there to rip us tourists off, getting off the ship.
Look, it's common knowledge.
Yeah,
basically, and the locals don't hide it.
No,
they it's surprising, really, how blatant it is.
I know. So I just got off, ordered a Bolt, pulled up right behind the other taxis, and I think it was like $12, if that, to get Australian dollars to get home. So
if we're talking about scams, probably the other thing we are going to mention, and this we may as well do it now. Well, we told you about the service charge in the last in one of the last podcasts, but the other thing we found is that the standard size of a glass of wine is 100 ml, and what happened to us 2 times in a row was that we ordered. We did. We actually have talked about this.
Yeah, we mentioned it before, but just to
re-emphasize it, it's 100 ml for a standard glass of wine.
And if you don't indicate that you just want that, they're likely to bring you 200 ml and charge you double.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's all over, all places in Budapest that we found. So you've got to be very specific about what you order, don't you?
Yeah.
But that's a good segue. Next segue into into the wine tour that we did. Now, this is something that a lot of people don't do, and quite surprisingly don't know that Hungary is a really old winemaking region. They've been making wine for hundreds of years, and we actually wanted to go out and taste some local wine. So I found a tour that was a small group tour, and it went to one of the areas that was quite close, so you weren't driving in for too long. And I'm going to put a link to the tour we did as well, because we would highly, highly, highly recommend doing this tour. Everything about it was fabulous, from the driver to the information. Like, there was a driver and a guide, and they picked us up, and there was, how many people would there have been? Maybe 8?
Yeah,
maybe a few more. 8 and us. And we got picked up from the central area in Pest, and we went to the closest wine region, which is the newest wine region in Hungary as well, but also the most popular because people can go out there for a weekend or a day drive themselves. And where is it at? Well,
it is at Etjek.
Etjek.
Yeah. Do you want a bit of a history on the old Hungarian?
Yeah,
okay. So
Hungarian wines. Yeah, let's do that.
Hungarian wine has a history dating back to the Roman times. The best known wines are the white dessert wines, Tokay and Bull's Blood, a full-bodied red wine.
But mostly whites, yeah?
Yeah, mostly whites, and that we'll go into that a little bit later. From 1882, the phylloxera epidemic hit Hungary hard. Now, this is the same bacteria or pest that affected both France, all their wine areas, and that's why actually the Spain wine became very, very popular in that day. So it's a bug.
Yeah.
But so that the 20th century saw the introduction of modern grapes such as Ziegfeld, which were easier to grow, and under communist rule, quality was neglected in the favor of overcropping and industrial production. Since 1989, there has been a renewed interest in traditional varieties. Hungary is situated in a temperate zone. Its climate is basically continental. The potential extremities of which are subdued by the Carpathian ranges, and the level of rainfall is just optimal. The region at the foot of the Alps is a special and remarkable part of the country. Its climate is subalpine, and the level of rainfall is well balanced. In summary, this small country has a climate and soil-related potential to grow excellent wine grapes.
Now, what the guide told us, Peter, was...
And he was great.
Yeah, he was really good. And we learnt so much just by doing this tour. was what they do now is they graft their grape varieties onto American stock grapes, because the American grapes are resistant to
the disease.
The disease, yeah. So that
Phylloxera.
Yeah.
I can't even say it.
Oh,
It's
that's it.
phylloxera.
Well
Phylloxera.
So we start off. It wasn't so the tour was 3 wineries, some tastings at each. I think 4 tastings at each, and then a dinner. So you can do a morning tour with lunch, or an afternoon tour with dinner, which is the one we chose to do. So we hopped on the little bus, and as we headed out, even as we headed out of town, Peter was giving us all great information all about, even just Budapest itself. And then we headed out into the countryside, and how cute, like quaint is,
It's beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
It reminded me very much of the Barossa Valley in Australia, in South Australia, and because the original wine makers at Etjek were Germans,
and German wine is at
Barossa Valley, yeah, and so it was very similar architecture of the small houses and villages. Yeah,
and you're driving through the most lush countryside, little roads, not busy, little villages, and it was so nice just to drive. And we arrive at our
well, can I just explain too that the Peter? Leanne said that Peter was giving us information about Budapest and the history, and he also gave us a really, really fabulous summary of how
they make the wine,
the theory and the production of wine.
Yeah,
it was really well done.
Yeah, it was actually.
So hats off to Peter. He did a great job.
Well, yeah, he did. And the reason he told us a lot of that is because some of the people we were going to see didn't speak a lot of English.
Yeah.
And he said they're very passionate and they want to talk about how they make their wine. And so he gave us a really good summary so we would understand why they're so passionate and how they do it. Do you remember the first place we went was called Vizzy Wines? Yeah. And shout out to Jerry there, who was the guy who... Jerry.
Oh, was it Jerry?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Gary.
No wonder he looked at me strange. I kept on calling him Gary.
No, you call him Gary. Geri. Is how it's spelled, because he and I are now friends on Instagram. And
of course you are.
And the thing though about this little winery, we pull up and we're in this little street, like it's like a very narrow little road, and on the left there's just bushes and shrubs, but on the right, sort of, just at our eyesight level, are these round wooden doors, and you can't go in them to above ground. You have to go underground, and there was 2 doors open, and that was the little winery we were going into. I had no idea. And so these were little wine cellars that have been around for hundreds of years, right?
And owned by local families.
And so the one we're going to is owned by a man who has been basically making wine as a hobby. He just loves it. He wasn't there this day. His son-in-law was, as we talked about, and he spoke really, really good English. And so we went down these stairs, and immediately the temperature drops, and the tables are set up with these gorgeous little tablecloths. There's photos on the walls, and there's little pieces of bread with pate on them for us to eat.
And it was bloody nice.
Well, it was nice, and luckily the guy opposite us, he didn't like them. So
that's right.
And then we tried the wine, and the wine was look, every time we do a wine tour, wherever we are in the world, the wine always tastes good. I don't know that we've been on a wine tasting you haven't enjoyed the wine, but there was just something special about this wine. I loved it. It was crisp. It was as good as anything I've tasted. It was really lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'll give you a bit of a rundown of the soil and all that in Etjek.
Okay.
Has long been known for producing sparkling wines. Etjek's limestone soil and overall colder climate make it arguably Hungary's best region to grow Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
Etjek is a small region, 1,652 hectares of vineyards with PDO status, which I think is
obviously the certification.
Correct. Etyek area is one of the coldest climate regions of Hungary, with an average temperature of 9.5 to 10.5 degrees, which would give you the acidity that you were talking about. The region also has a higher than average rainfall for Hungary, with around 600 mil of rainfall per year compared to 450. The terroir and weather conditions result in wines that have fresh, crisp acidity, chalky minerality, and restrained fruit. Typical cool climate wine. 82% of its vineyards are planted with white grapes, and red grapes planted are mostly the cold climate loving Pinot Noir and a bit of Cabernet Sauvignon. And they use the Pinot Noir in the sparkling anyway.
And to make Pinot Gris.
Yeah, and Pinot Gris.
Yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed trying those different wines, and we got beautiful big glasses, and each wine you really got enough of it to get a great taste. And then after we'd tasted all the wines, they opened up more doors and we could go down further into the actual wine cellar where they have the great big barrels, and I've got some pictures of that as well. And it's almost musty and damp, and obviously the perfect temperature for storing wine. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, that was a real experience. I had no idea we were going to go into like a old family 100-year-old little wine cellar under the ground. It was fabulous, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was funny because the one of the guys that was with us, who was sitting at the same table, he wasn't that happy with the red wine because he'd taken it straight out of the barrel. Now
that's true. We went down and he actually sort of sucked it out in this big glass tube.
Used a vacuum to get the wine out of the barrel. And my thoughts on that were that the actual wine was too cold.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get the benefits of the flavours and that
but
sort of thing.
But I've got some lovely photos of that little winery, and thoroughly enjoyed that. We were having a ball to start with.
Yeah, we did. It was really, really a great day.
And then we moved on to a little other family-owned. They're all family-owned. And this one was a husband and wife. Now, they'd done a fair bit of travelling, learning about wines. And did they say they'd been to Australia? I'm pretty sure they said they'd been to Barossa Valley. And they'd been to, and they're native Hungarians. What?
Margaret River.
Margaret River, okay.
It was Margaret River, yeah.
Okay, and they'd done a lot of time in the States as well, and they just had this love of making wine, and it was called Nassau or Nassau. I've got some pictures of that as well. It was a little bit different. It was like an old house or building that they'd bought and renovated to turn it into like a wine tasting area. And they had a whole range of wines there, like lovely labels and things on them, and on display outside. And they had tables outside with umbrellas, and there were people there obviously doing a wine tasting on their own. We were in a group, so we went inside, and I can't remember the lady's name, but she was fabulous too. She was very passionate, very knowledgeable, and we just enjoyed. And that's when we met and were chatting to Diana and Thomas from. Well, Diana was from Hungary and Thomas was from the Netherlands, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. Or Norway, can't remember.
No, he was from Norway, definitely.
And so that was the other thing. Like, it was nice because we got to speak to an American couple that he sat with, and then we sat with this young couple, and then we met a whole group of women there on a party for a 50th birthday, and that was a lot of fun. So nice wines there too, and some more snacks, and just everyone's getting a bit happy by this stage. And I've got a photo of Lyle on the website. You can see how happy he is jumping in the air, enjoying himself. So that's episode 103. Just check out Lyle. And
you caught me in a weak moment.
Yeah, apparently. And then we moved on to our third.
Well, just that particular winery, they had some interesting blends.
They did. Was that the one that had it had the Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay blend? They were experimenting blend. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was good. It was the best of their wine.
I love that. Yeah,
it was good.
Because I'm like, Chardonnay, big Sauvignon. Yeah, they did a great job. So it's all sort of experimental, but it's obviously popular with the locals because there were quite a few people outside enjoying themselves in the sunshine, drinking those homemade wine. Well, not homemade, but wines there. They're not making a lot of wines. They sometimes supply local restaurants, but there's not enough wine to, export. Now, the third and last, where we had our dinner, going through a few more little sort of back roads, and there's, stone walls and, beautiful trees and farmland. And we arrive at this, the third place, and it's a little bit bigger outside. It's got beautiful stone paving and a pergola above, and big wooden tables, obviously made out of, big trees. They're a bit rustic, and the chairs that we sat on, it just looked beautiful, didn't it? And there was obviously a family, because there's kids running around, and and they had the whole table set up for us. Now, the lady who was doing the wine tasting, she didn't speak any English, but Peter was helping with the translation there, which was good. And I think we mentioned this in an earlier podcast too. This is where we learnt to say cheers in Hungarian. Peter said, you just got to say, I guess she can drive, fast, and that's cheers.
Yeah,
so,
I guess she can drive.
Yes, I guess she can drive. She.
Oh, I guess she can drive.
See. With the accent. Well,
the Hungarian. Well, actually, talking about when you were sort of talking about the wooden tables and that sort of thing, one of the things that at Vizzy, the original winery that we went to, normally it's American or French oak.
Yes.
But in his winery, they store them in Hungarian oak.
There you go. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the wine's here once again. I can't fault the wine at all.
At this stage, you're not going to, are you? Because there's 12 tastings in
the day.
In the day, so
that's I didn't drink all of them all, and there was a lot of water, to be fair. Now, the thing that was interesting about this place was that we had dinner there. We were going to have a 3-course dinner. I don't remember. Was it 3 course or 2 course?
2 courses.
2 course. And
I'm thinking 3 courses, and I'm thinking I might have been more tired and emotional than I thought. But we had the roe deer goulash.
Now, everyone thought when he said roe deer that it was road deer, and that someone had dragged it off the road as roadkill. But it's actually a roe deer is like the best deer that you can get. It's spelled ROE, deer. And the people there had actually gone out the day or two before and hunted for this roe deer and turned it into a Hungarian goulash, which was divine.
Actually, it was really good, yeah.
Yeah, it was so good.
I had 2 helpings.
Yeah, and so we didn't care if it was road deer or, but anyway, I did Google it because, he was saying it like it was, a road, but it was roe. And they had like a grain with that, sort of a barley sort of that went with it, which was really nice as well.
A little bit like couscous.
Couscous, a bit like pearl barley, that sort of size and texture. And then there was a dessert, wasn't there?
Yep.
Yeah, and that was nice as well. So I don't even remember what that was, to be honest.
I'm putting my hand up too. I can't remember, or some sort of cake, cakey thing.
Yeah, it was a homemade cake. But I loved the goulash, and just the fact that it was, I don't know, like they'd gone and got it. It was like that how they live, they hunt still and they grow all their own stuff. They make their own wine, and here we are in their sort of home and their outdoor area, enjoying what they would do every weekend, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah, and it was just a lovely experience, and
the setting in that last winery, having dinner, just overlooking the hills, and it was so beautiful.
Yeah, so go and check out the photos on episode 103, and once again, if you're going to Budapest, you want to go and do this wine tour, and I'll put the link to it, as I said, in the show notes, and check out the pictures. So,
are we going to tell them about the bottle of wine that we actually bought?
No, because I haven't quite finished yet. And if you want to see videos, because I took quite a lot of videos of the tour as well, where we've got Gary at the first one getting the wine, the red wine out, and the surroundings at the last winery we're at, and also at the baths. I took that. Go to Beach Travel Wine Instagram, and up the top, where in the story highlights, click on the Budapest highlight, and you will see all the things that we did on this day. But as Lyle was saying, we did buy a nice bottle of wine.
Well, it wasn't unfortunate that we bought it. We were very impressed with the Pinot Gris that at Vizzy, which was the first winery.
But we laid it down, and because I guess
it was corked,
it's not corked for commercial use. It leaked through our bag, so
we lost a lot.
Yeah, well, you had a sip at the end, but never mind.
Yeah, because there was nothing left.
No.
And I thought, well.
Anyway, so I had to
actually when I first realised that there was a problem, I wasn't sure where the moisture was coming from. But anyway, as it turned out, it was the. Don't look at me like that, Leanne. I told you that story, and the day after it, and you thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, that's not really appropriate. Anyway, but so then old Nana over here has to go home and wash everything because I'm worried that if we try and go through customs with a wine-smelling backpack, we'll be in trouble. So, yeah, we were disappointed we missed out on that wine. I was so looking forward to that. But that wasn't enough to spoil the day because it was a great day, wasn't it? And on the way home...
That was probably my favourite day.
Yeah, and on the way home, one of the girls had a Bluetooth speaker and she's calling us Australia, pick a song Australia, and someone else pick a song. So it's not just the wine tasting and the food and the landscape, it's making those connections with other people.
Company.
Yeah, the company when you travel and the guide that we had. Thoroughly recommend doing that tour, yes?
Yeah, I'd give the tour about 15 out of 10.
15 out of 10. Well, there you go. But, Lyle, the next place we're going to speak about,
Leanne,
is probably another 15 out of 10. And this is a hidden gem because most people who go to Budapest have not been here, and I think it is much more a local hangout, and it doesn't have a very glamorous name, but it's called Margaret Island. And we decided we were going to go for a walk one day because it wasn't too far from our hotel. And as Lyle and I like to do, we like to explore, so we had no knowledge or expectations of what was on Margaret Island. And it was probably a couple of kilometres from where we were staying, and you can only access it from a bridge. So you walk across a bridge and then head down onto Margaret Island. And Margaret Island. Let's talk about it first. We found this out after was 3 islands joined together in the middle of the Danube to basically help curb the flow of the river, right?
Correct.
And since then, though, it's been made into like basically a giant, recreational area for families to enjoy.
Yes, and it was named after Princess Margaret, and originally the original name of the island was called Rabbit Island.
Oh, I wonder why.
3 guesses.
It's about 2.5 kilometres long.
Correct.
And what is it, about 500?
500 metres wide.
Yeah.
It is 0.965 square kilometres or 238 acres.
And every inch of it is gorgeous. Now, this park it's green, it's lush, there's giant trees, there's flowers, there's a Japanese garden, there's a rose garden, there's a water tower, there's a 13th century convent ruins to look at as well. There's actually a church. I think there was a wedding going on when we were there. There's hotels on the island as well.
Yep.
There's restaurants with some of the big fancy restaurants with terraces outside, a jogging track all the way around the outside, and a bike track, and there's a huge aquatic centre.
Yeah, I assume it's the National Aquatic Centre.
Water polo.
Yeah, and the day we were there was obviously some water polo competition going on, but there's also I suppose it's the National Athletic Centre as well, running tracks and that sort of stuff. Tennis courts. And there's also thermal baths.
Yeah, and a huge complex. The pools, swimming pools, and little water slides and playgrounds. That was a big sort of spark. Remember, we were just walking; it just went on, and pool after pool after pool.
It was huge. And then, sort of once you get past the pools, there's just this amazing parklands.
Yeah,
and
there were old guys playing football, soccer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
People picnicking everywhere. There were those lovely little flower fields as well. There's a little zoo, like a mini zoo, as well. And one of the things that when you first walk in, except for the local buses, it's pretty well pedestrian only.
Yep.
And you can hire, and I've got pictures of this and videos. Once again, Beach Travel One on Instagram. Go and have a look, or episode 103. And you can hire these little cart buggies that which are pedal power. There's some just ordinary one, not ordinary, but standard ones with a shade roof. And then there's some fancy ones that look like sports cars as well. There's bikes you can hire that, you can get yourself all the way around. People were riding all over the place, families, kids. There were some dads pedaling and letting the kids drive them. I wish we'd done that. That looked like a lot of fun.
And it would have saved the legs.
Would have saved. We did do a lot of walking, didn't we?
Yeah.
And so, but when you first get in, to Margaret Island, that's what you come across first, to these sort of car hire places or cart hire places. But then you look across and there's this big statue in the middle of a huge flower bed. And it was I'm like, I'm so happy. I love flowers. And what else do I love?
Fountains.
Water fountains. And this is the musical fountain.
But the actual fountain itself is huge, and it's
a big circular one, and it has like spouts and that come out in unison and in a show and in so some of them are low and then they spurt up into the sky and then they do spirals. And
to me it was so much like, it reminded me of fireworks.
Yeah, and it sounds like fireworks. And you go at night, it is lit up. And sometimes through the day they play music along with it.
It's scheduled. It's the music.
Sometimes it's rock music. Sometimes it's local
Budapest.
For your music, yeah.
And Budapest music. What's the name of that song?
It's called Budapest.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that when we were there, there was that one. Yeah. Then there was also some obviously
folk music.
Well, folk music or children's music. And the kids are loving it, dancing. And
they've also got lots of chairs sitting around, they've got the great big weeping trees as shade around the edge with all these chairs basically facing the water fountain. And that was beautiful too, even when the show's not on, just sitting there under the shade. And once check out the photos and the videos on Instagram for the videos and the photos on episode 103, because it really was beautiful. And that was the first thing we came across.
Yeah, I think that fountain for me was, I'd almost say it was, one of the best I've ever seen. Because I'm just thinking of Trevi, and Trevi is amazing, but I just think that the music and watching the kids dancing, and I thought it was incredible. And we talked about the parklands. They were stunningly beautiful and relaxing.
And I think, we arrived at a good time because they'd had rain and it was spring, and, so there's lots of little, and they don't, what I love about the parklands in Hungary or Budapest, what we saw, is they don't manicure the gardens to the inch,
with the inch of their life. Yeah.
They actually let the grass grow and to probably 10, 15 centimetres. But in that grass that is hundreds of wildflowers, little daisies. It's just beautiful. And then, so you got this field of green with the white daisies, and then you got these massive green trees of every shade of green you can imagine. And then they've got the trees that we still don't know the name of, that someone did tell me but I don't know what it is now, because it wasn't in English, full of flowers themselves, the ones with the big white flowers and the pink flowers. And I just couldn't take enough photos of all those beautiful trees and so we walked round and round, just loving every bit of this island. And then we come across.
I mean, just remember too, like obviously it's an island, but you got the Danube on each side.
Yeah.
Right. And as you
all around it.
Yeah. That sounded so stupid. But anyway, go on.
And then we sort of gone all the way down and around through the middle, and we're walking back up. You go past the little zoo, and they've got all these lovely little like hot air balloons hanging from the trees, bright colours, and got photos that just looked beautiful, bright oranges and reds and greens hanging these trees. And it's basically the entrance into a row of bars and restaurants. And there was one called the Hippie Bar.
The Happy Hippie.
The Happy Hippie. I can't remember the name of the one we went to. I got once again.
That was the Pizza Puzzle.
Pizza Puzzle. And we had a pizza there with sour cream, corn and bacon. was great.
And it was really good. Yeah. Highly recommend
So we're sitting outside and you're
that
watching
particular pizza place.
walk past. You're watching the little carts being driven past. There's people playing. They're juggling footballs. They're just walking around doing all sorts of stuff. It's obviously very liked by the locals, and it's so pretty and plenty of space and for everybody to enjoy it. There's just acres of parkland to find your own little spot.
And it's free.
And it's free, except the carts you've got to hire.
Yeah, and the food, obviously, that you eat.
But that is one of the highlights of Budapest for me, because I do love a nice park, a nice green space, as everybody knows. So that's Margaret Island, and it's right in the centre. You can't miss it, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add about that?
No.
No. Oh, nothing else you want to add?
No, I just think it's. I hope we've done it justice.
Yeah, well, I hope we've done all of Budapest justice, because we loved it and we needed to do 3 episodes to get it all out. So, Lyle, where was your favourite place to have? Oh, you're going to get in before me. I'm going to get in before you. My favourite place to have a glass of wine in this episode was at Vizzy Wine Cellar in Etienne.
Okay, well. Again, we agree.
Oh, I thought you might have gone Pizza Puzzle it.
Look, it was good and it was great, but, we did the wine tour and we're talking about having a glass of wine.
Yeah, it was great.
And he was such a nice guy.
He was.
Friendly, and just the whole atmosphere, the company that we had on the wine tour.
I'm going to put it, as I said, if you've come this far, thanks so much for listening to the whole episode. To reiterate, on our website, beachtravelwine.com, episode 103, I'm going to have links to the tour or the tickets we got to the baths, and I'm going to have links to the wine tour we did. But and I'm going to see if I can put a link to Vizzy Wine's Instagram as well. So go and follow him. He does some great stuff on Instagram as well. And, some links to the other episodes that we did. And you'll see all the photos on the website. If you want to see the videos, Beach Travel Wine Instagram, and up the top in the story highlights, click Budapest and you'll see all the stuff we did while we were there, including the bars, Margaret Island. I did go a bit crazy with Margaret Island, and the wine tour.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really impressed me about Budapest in general was after dark.
Yeah, sure.
Just the illumination of the city and those, whether it be the Parliament House or the Fisherman's Bastion or the Buddha Castle, everything is just lit up to the max.
Yeah.
And it is stunning.
Gold buildings on the midnight blue sky.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You only get it in Europe, don't you?
Yeah. And I think you only get it as good as you get in Budapest.
Sure. I'd have to, even better than Plaza de España. Yeah, I think so. You can't, that Parliament building, it was, you can't get, I don't know how many photos I took of it. You just couldn't stop. It was like an addiction.
But I just imagine if they turned on the lights at the Parliament House like they do in Salamanca.
Oh, yeah.
When it's just instant bang lights. That would be unbelievable.
Anyway, we're waffling a little bit, so we look forward to you speaking to you again, bringing you some more podcasts from our next destination. So until then, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from her.
Fry, you said fry again.